This podcast was originally live-streamed on the NonSequitur Show on YouTube. New episodes air weekdays, Monday through Friday, at 8 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/NonSequitur Show. Make sure you never miss a live stream by visiting www.nonsecshow.com/schedule. For the latest news, polls and updates throughout the day, follow us on Twitter @NonSecShow or Facebook.com/NonSecShow. That's NONSEQ Show. If you'd like to get exclusive content, bi-weekly private hangouts with Kyle and Steve, backstage access to chat with guests after shows hosted on your channel and much more, become a Patreon saint of NonSequitur. It ensures we continue to improve our show and brings you into the process at the same time. Visit patreon.com/NonSequitur today while the limited spots are still available.
The following podcast is intended for those who believe bold ideas are righteous, unique perspectives are gospel, and strong opinions are sacred. This is Non-Sequitur. Never follow. And now, here are your hosts, Kyle Curtis and Steve McRae.
Better late than never.
Sometimes.
Boy, man.
Not always. That's not always true. Hopefully in this
exhausting.
case it will be. Yeah, holy cow.
That was exhausting. And I'm losing my
I'm all
voice.
tired out. Good show.
Yeah.
Can we just be done with it now? Because we're already
it's over.
really exhausted from what we just went through.
So
Grueling.
I was gonna steal a line from our good friend and newly triggered Kent Hovind. You know, if we just wait long enough, it'll evolve.
Evolution demonstrated in front of you. The program has evolved.
He's so triggered today. He's so triggered
was he?
today.
I don't
Yes.
watch his channel. I honestly cannot watch Kent Hovind. I really do have so much empathy for Aaron Raw that has to sit there and listen to that nonsensical bullshit. And you made a brilliant comment the other day, which is not unusual. Okay, I'm going to give you some credit here. But you said a exceptionally brilliant comment. You said that Kent Hovind has not changed in 10 years, that his arguments are so exactly the same that you literally could take anything that he said 10 years ago and apply it today or vice versa, and it wouldn't make a bit of difference.
It's true.
That is exactly true.
His jokes, his points, all of it is exactly the same as it was 20 years ago. But he left a comment.
His jokes are too. Yeah.
He left a comment, and if you allow me to read what Dr. Hovind left on the show last night. All right, he says, "Hey, Aaron, someone told me that you had responded and sent me this link. I only got to watch 8 minutes. So far, it's painfully obvious that I need to school you and the hosts in basic junior high physical science. But hey, I enjoy teaching, so here goes. Re-listen to these 8 minutes to see for yourself that you don't understand the difference between weight and density. I did not say that the flood in Noah's day sorted things by weight, as you falsely accused me of doing several times. I clearly said they were sorted by body density. A truckload of feathers weighs more than a bowling ball, but has less density. You see, density is weight per unit volume. In a flood, 10 tons of feathers would float on top of a 10-pound bowling ball, and they would settle into different layers by density, not by weight. A T-Rex would weigh more than a clam, but the clam is more dense. I'm still working on pointing out the hundreds of errors in your 7-part series. As I get time, I may not be able to correct or even watch the rest of the video for a long time. But if you need education or clarification, any one particular point at a time, please call me, 855-BIG DINO, extension 3. The first 10 science lessons by phone are free. And by the way, we do not recommend anyone calling 1-855-BIG DINO, extension 3. We do not recommend you calling that at all. Don't call that number.
Here's the interesting part of what is said. Okay, he is right. Density, that is obviously mass over unit volume, but what he gets wrong is that hang on a second. The buoyancy is dependent upon water displacement or fluid displacement. So it's a huge factor in having a buoyant force is the amount of volume being displaced. Okay, so I don't know what his argument that he's going to have hydrological sorting because of that. I don't know his argument on that. It's going to be because of weight.
He's got the fossil record ever in any place actually show that things are sorted by density. Name a place in the fossil record where things are sorted by density.
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea how he's getting that.
Obviously, he's got a sand toy that he uses that he holds up and spins, and the things float, and that obviously means that that's the way that it is, Steve. I mean, do you
think that he subscribes to the theory of dropity?
Yes, I would. I would guarantee it. He made a joke last night, and this just shows you where my mind is. I took it wrong. I just want to clarify this. He made a joke about how the Earth is spinning, and so it bulges in the middle. And he says, "Well, no one make a comment about my bulge." And so I'm thinking that he just made a comment about his bulge, because then he looked straight over at I think her name's Lisa or something like that, and he goes, "Don't say a word, Lisa." And I'm like, "Oh my God!" He literally just made a comment about, but he meant his stomach was bulging, not his bulge.
Okay.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, you never know with Ken. Yeah, Ken has made some pretty off the cuff remarks that yeah. I think he's probably one of those sexual freaky kind of guys that doesn't really say anything about it too much that makes innuendos.
Most people that get real into religion and repress things, that happens.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
For the people
look at the Google searches.
For the people who excuse me, you have to bear with me. My voice is going out tonight. But for the people who sponsored the show in the through the PayPal link or the patrons, the first private show is going to be on February the 16th. That will be in roughly 3 weeks. We'll have that, and that'll be with Trevor Valley, and then a gentleman that denies dinosaurs. So, yeah, and that's Kent's explanation for why dinosaurs aren't millions of years old, because back in the Noah's flood days, there was more oxygen in the air, so everything was bigger. Everything lived to be 900 years. Everything was taller, and so iguanas nowadays, if we had enough oxygen, would be the size of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, which makes sense, right?
No. You're talking about the higher oxidation, higher oxygen content. That only works for like insects, like dragonflies were larger, but mammals don't have nothing to do with that.
Ask.
I mean, he's got a biologist in here, but I can tell you that's true.
And I didn't know this.
Plants and insects.
Yep, the atmospheric pressure also has to be higher.
Yeah, that's why you have a
otherwise you can have an organ collapse.
Chamber.
Well, the last thing about Kent Hovind, last night I was watching his video, He said that he has 3 doctorates. 3.
Well, he has honorary. Supposedly, he has honorary doctorates, which is basically the same kind of doctorates that he has from Patriot Bible University.
Oh,
his actual education, he went to. I think it was his actual education is he went to a community college for 2 years. I believe it was Illinois State Community College that he went to. So he has an associate's degree at best. So, but he only has 2 years. But he never finished a bachelor's. He never finished a master's, and he certainly never finished an actual PhD.
Patriot Trailer, you mean?
Patriot Trailer, yeah.
Patriot Trailer. All right, before we jump into...
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It's okay. Well, let's get him introduced here. People are wondering who we're talking to. Okay. Let's get you introduced here because you don't have a video, so nobody can see you. They can only hear you. So who we got here today, Kyle?
We have Florian, and I got a message from Florian by Discussional, which is our forum. You can go to tinyurl.com/nonsecme, and you can submit an idea for a show if you have something that you're passionate about or something that you want to discuss. And this was actually one of those submissions. And Florian, I'm going to let you take a second to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about, who you are and what you do. And then I will let you guys know what we've got coming up tomorrow for another big show. And then we'll jump into tonight's topic. So, Florian, how did you find us? And why did you want to talk about what we're going to be talking about tonight?
I was just watching your YouTube channel and some of the more controversial debates, and I saw the Discussional listed, and I was like, you know what? What's a topic that I think would be interesting to discuss that a lot of people have a lot of willful misunderstandings about? That seems like a good topic to discuss live.
You pick Steve's favorite
on
subject.
YouTube channel.
Steve's favorite subject. So tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and why you're interested in gender.
I am a biologist, although technically my degree is going to be in biochemistry. I'm one class away from graduating. Most of my research has been with salamanders and plants, so not really humans or anything anthropology related.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know how evolution works, and I did TA a class in evolution. And,
Sweet.
The reason, I'm interested in the gender topic because there's a lot of scientific stuff about it that people either don't care about or don't know, like the fact that sex isn't really determined by karyotype. It's phenotype. Karyotype it can influence it in some organisms to a large degree, but overall, it's really not a karyotypical distinction.
Okay.
Like a lot of, in reptiles especially, the environment is what selects for it. But that's more has to do with like the macromosomes or argument that people like to make
Excellent.
when they want to dismiss any liberal understanding of it.
So you're saying that chromosomal count and things like Turner syndrome or Klinefelter syndrome don't determine biological sex, or not? Those are not types of biological sex. It's not contingent upon chromosomal makeup.
Those would be a type of biological sex, but those types of things can be from environmental factors. And if the environment is a factor in the determining of one's gender or sex, not gender. If the environment is a determining factor in one's sex, then it is more accurately described as a phenotypic trait versus purely karyotypic. Like for example, the SRY gene, which is in humans, it's what differentiates male from female in utero. That doesn't have to be present on the Y chromosome. There have been cases where it has been present on an X chromosome or a different chromosome, and the organism can still produce sperm. So
okay, so it's transposed to the X chromosome. There's a transposition on it.
So karyotyping generally, you're just looking at like the gross chromosome, and you're just looking at the gross structure of the chromosome, but that's not really how it works. And if you look at it in detail.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's going to be an interesting topic. I asked Florian before we started which side he would be